a big fan of Jane Austen. I did a video about Pride and Prejudice, and I did another one about Sense and Sensibility. A lot of you requested me to do one on Emma. Now, Emma is one that I have not watched in a while, so like most of these videos I do, this is all from memory. I might get some parts wrong. Just understand that before we talk about it. So, Emma is a movie about Emma. Her name's Emma Woodhouse. She is a very rich daughter of an old man that does some stuff, and they got money pretty much. And so Emma is extremely spoiled. Emma is so spoiled. She thinks she's the best person at everything. She thinks she's the smartest person in the world. She thinks she's the most handsome person in the world. They loved handsome in Jane Austen's day. She thinks she's the most handsome girl in the world. Like, she really is full of herself. And so the movie starts out with her attending the wedding of her former governess, who's married this dude. And Emma was the one that matchmade them. So Emma just thinks she's like this great matchmaker. And so she's also very bored. Because remember, this is a rich woman. She's not married. I think she's like 21, something like that. She's still relatively young. She's not really interested in being married. And I will say her saving grace, the saving grace for Emma's character is that she loves her father unconditionally. Like, she dotes on her father and he dotes on her and he loves her so much. So he ends up becoming acquainted with this girl named Harriet Smith. Harriet Smith lives in this, like, pretty much this orphanage. It's like an upscale orphanage, I would say. And they end up getting cool, and Emma takes her under her wing because she's fucking bored. And Harriet wants to marry this guy named, Robert Martin. He's like a farmer. And Emma concocts in her head that because Harriet's her friend, she's too good to marry this lowly farmer. So Emma tries to hook up Harriet with different men. First dude she tries to hook up Harriet with is this pastor, preacher, whatever, reverend. Not sure which one of those he was. While all this is happening, Emma has a friend named John Knightley, Mr. Knightley. And they're friends because Emma's sister is married to his brother. So they are sister-in-law, brother, sister-in-law, son-in-law. And so this whole time, he's the only one that really keeps Emma in check. Like, everybody else just be going with Emma's bullshit, but he's the one that be like, Emma, you're fucking wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. So Emma tries to hook up Harriet Smith, remember, who is pretty much an orphan, with this preacher. He does not like Harriet, he likes Emma. And so there's this whole big kerfuffle where he's like, why the fuck would I like her? Don't nobody know who her parents are. This bitch is broke. Get up out of here. How dare you even come to me with this shenaniganry? Also throughout this, in the background, there's this girl named Jane Fairfax. And Jane Fairfax is pretty much the foil to Emma. She's super sweet, very soft-spoken. She lives with her aunt, Mrs. Bates. She's a governess or something for some other family. But Emma is hella jealous of Jane Fairfax, right? Okay. A lot of different characters. So, remember I was talking about her governess. So her governess's husband has a son that, when the mom died, went to go live with some of his other family. And his name is Frank Churchill. So he comes to Highbury, or I think that's where the fuck they live. I think that's what it's called. He comes there. He's flirting with Emma hard. He's all up in Emma's face. And so Emma, in her mind, she's like, well, like I said, I don't need no man. Like, I'm in a good position. I'm in a great position. So I think she mentally maybe was trying to hook him up with Harriet. I don't think she actually tried to do anything. I really don't remember what was going on with that. But this is important. Remember Frank Churchill. Emma also is a bitch, and she's very mean to Mrs. Bates. Mrs. Bates is Jane Fairfax's aunt. And Jane Fairfax, aunt and grandma all live in this house, and they don't really have any money. So, but everybody's super kind to them because they know that they're not in the best position. Emma's mean as fuck to Mrs. Bates. Mrs. Bates talks a lot. She's really annoying. But Emma's a big fucking bitch to Mrs. Bates. Anyway, fast forward, a lot of shit happens, whatever. Here's the main story. So, at some point, Harriet ends up getting a crush on Mr. Knightley. Even though in Emma's mind, she was trying to kind of hook her up with Frank Churchill. But Harriet gets a crush on Mr. Knightley, and Emma slowly begins to realize, like, oh no, I'm in love with Mr. Knightley. Also remember, Emma's the reason that Harriet is not with the farmer that is completely in love with her. While all of this is going on, Emma was like flirting with Frank Churchill. Come to find out, fucking Frank Churchill is engaged to Jane Fairfax, and they've been engaged secretly for a minute. So like Frank Churchill was flirting with Emma so that nobody would know that he was secretly engaged to Jane Fairfax, making Jane Fairfax jealous. It's a whole messy hullabaloo. Come to find out, Knightley's also in love with Emma, which is crazy because I think he's like 40 and she might be 20, 21, or he's known her since she was a child, because he makes mention of that he's known her since she was a child. So she may be a full adult by the time the story takes place, but he's known her since he was an adult and she was a child. So anyway, Emma, one of the reasons that Emma never really wanted to get married was because her father has a lot of stuff going on. Like, he's old, he's like a germaphobe, he has like a lot of different idiosyncrasies. And so she's like, who's gonna take care of my dad if we get married? Because then I'll have to go move with my husband. And Knightley's fucking rich, and he's like, I can do whatever the fuck I want, I'll come live with y'all. And so boom, they end up getting married. They end up getting married. Harriet ends up marrying Robert Martin, who she was in love with. If Emma hadn't fucking interfered, the preacher, pastor, reverend, he ends up marrying some lady. She's a fucking bitch. Yeah, and so that's what happens. Everybody ends up happily ever after. Emma didn't really learn shit. Well, she did. She learned not to meddle in people's business, and it's a lot about marrying above your station and all of that kind of shit. And she calls Harriet all of this fucking turmoil, trying to make Harriet feel like she's in a bigger class than she was. Harriet was broke. Harriet didn't have no money like that. And Emma was just looking for her next plaything. So Emma was very manipulative. She is an asshole. I think even Jane Austen was like, I tried to make this character unlikable, and she did. And if this story kind of sounds familiar to you, it's because you've seen Clueless. Clueless was based off of Emma. A lot of movies in the 90s, like teen rom-coms and stuff like that, they were based on old novels. I Hate About You was based off of Taming of the Shrew. It's a lot of stuff like that. So Clueless is based off of Emma. I actually do a deep dive on that on my audio-only podcast called the Roxy Hayes Podcast. So check that out. And what other movies and such would you like me to discuss? Because I watch a lot of shit. So let me know. Did this help you understand Emma? I know it's a lot of characters. A lot of Jane Austen stuff really is them just going to each other's house. That's what it is. A lot of going to each other's house. It's a lot of dinners. It's a lot of faux pas, and I didn't know this was. It's a lot of hijinks ensuing within going to these different people's homes. So that's Emma. Let me know what you think. Peace.